Hey guys, just here today to talk about song form, how to identify where the strong beat of the new section begins, because some songs have a bit of a trick to them, like a lead in, and in this particular song we're going to choose Shotgun. So let's bring George Ezra's Shotgun into this track by going Insert Media Item. Now what I'm going to do is, I haven't really listened to the whole song to think about the form, but I'm pretty sure it has an intro. It's probably going to have some kind of a verse, and then of course it has the chorus. Oops, typing skills there. Chorus. Now they look a bit drab, don't they? So I'm actually going to highlight all four and right click them. Track, color, set those tracks to random colors. And that looks a bit nicer, doesn't it? So now that I've done that, I'm going to have a bit of a listen, and I'm just listening for when it changes from the intro to the verse or the next section or the chorus.
Homegrown alligator, see you.
Okay, so the point where he starts singing, I'm pretty sure we could class as a verse.
Homegrown alligator, see you.
And thinking in a musical way, the homegrown does feel like it's right on the start of a bar, like 3, 4. Homegrown alligator. It sounds like it's starting the section to me. So I'm actually going to click before here, and I'm trying to tab to that transient, but it just picked up a few extras in the meantime. But right there, I feel like
homegrown
that is where I want to hit S and split it. Now at this point in time, I'm going to put my intro on that, because we'd all agree that was the intro.
Homegrown alligator, see you later. Gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. The sun ain't changed in the atmosphere, architecture unfamiliar. I could get used to this. Time flies by in the year.
Now when that bass comes in, let's consider that to be verse 2. So I'm clicking on this track, tabbing until it moves right up towards that big transient. Now you notice if I've zoomed in with the up arrow key, and that to me feels like the right spot. You see where the bass comes in, it's quite a fat sound there. Now we've classed this as a verse, let's drag it down to here. And I'm actually going to right click and go Item Properties, and I'm going to change the name of that take to call it verse 1. Enter. And now you'll notice that on that clip, if I zoom out a bit with down, it's now called verse 1. Let's change this one. If I double click, that brings up that properties menu, and I can just call that intro. Okay, let's continue from sort of our second verse or second half of verse 1.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun.
Okay, now I'm not sure if you heard my counting there. I was just counting the beats and the bars as well. We'll count, that's an 8-bar section. But let's watch closely where the new section actually begins, whether it begins on the I'll be riding
shotgun,
or does it actually begin when the syllable shot begins?
Shotgun underneath.
Let's have a listen.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around
3,
and
2,
you'll see
3,
what I mean.
4, 2, 3,
There's a mountain top that I'm
6,
dreaming
2,
of.
3,
If you need
7,
me,
2,
you know
3,
where
4,
I'll be.
8, 2,
I'll
3,
be
4,
riding
1.
shotgun.
So I'm actually going to split it right on the shot. Let's turn the magnet off. If I click here and hit tab, you notice it's not moving. As soon as I click on there and tab to that transient, I can then split it perfectly.
Shotgun.
Okay, so we'd probably all agree that this part here was classed as a verse. So I've turned my magnet on just to help me with my drag, and I'll call it verse 2. So here's the chorus. Why don't we could label it chorus, but that'll change the whole song. So let's have a listen.
Shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a
7,
someone.
2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4.
South.
1. Okay, is it south? Is the word. Click here.
South of the equator, south of the
The S in south is being left off a little bit there, isn't it? So I might just move that one slightly to here.
south of
Or does he have a lisp? Let's go back a bit.
south,
Oh, it's a very long S,
south,
but musically, I'm actually going to take it from the point where the instruments come in,
south of
because later on, we're going to show you how we might actually just like stretch out. Once we've sort of positioned our pieces in our jigsaw, we can then think about stretching and capturing those missing syllables and missing lead-ins. But that comes later. So let's drag our chorus down there and call it chorus. Okay, continuing from this next verse.
south of the equator, navigator, gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. Deep
5,
sea
2,
diving round
3,
the clock,
6,
bikini
2,
bottoms
3,
like a top.
7, 2,
could get
3,
used to
4,
this.
8, 2, 3, 4.
Time.
Okay, so this verse is also kind of split in two. If every verse is kind of 16 bars instead of 8 bars, maybe it would have made more sense for me to keep them together. So I can actually go back and heal the cut. Let's do that. What I'll do, I'll keep this playing another 8 bars.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be.
8, 2.
I'll be riding shot.
Okay, so that, I hit Control Space to stop the playhead and leave it where it was stopped. Let's click here, hit Tab, up to where that bass drops. Check it out. I'll split there. Now, I've actually I reckon we'll call this one verse 2 now. And we're going to go back where I said verse 1 and 2. Move our verse down. See how I split that in half and said verse 1, verse 2. Let's actually just highlight both of them and right click and ask it to heal the split. And now they're both just together again. Another thing I could have really done is deleted verse 2, drag that edge over, but then I would have had to get my edge again, you know. So healing the split, select them both. You could use right mouse button and draw a box. You can click on one, hold Control and select it. Click on it. Right click, heal the split. Now they're both one again, okay? Moving forwards, what have we got here? A chorus.
Riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone.
And 8, 2, 3, 4.
We got to it.
Now, is this a verse or a different bridge? Sounds a bit like a verse. Let's just split it and check. So,
We got to it.
that there is the start of the section. Split it. That was a chorus. Just going to organize it by putting it on my chorus channel. This is really just an exercise, guys, to recognize sections, and then we'll be able to like reorder them to make our own creation, which again is partly just practice of the processes involved with identifying sections and moving them around.
2 in the front, 2 in the back, sailing along, and we don't look back.
7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. Cool. So I reckon that was kind of like a bridge section, wasn't it? Or if we think about the way I mentioned that the verses have all been 16 bars, and the other verse had that time sort of pre-chorus thing, I might just leave that section together.
Time flies by in the yellow and green stick.
Although I like the fact that's a dropout, we're going to give that its own little label. So I'm going to split it right there because I had already tabbed to that transient. No, I hadn't. So I'm going to tab. I'm going to I kind of like it there. Split that. And what do we call this one? We call that one, is that a verse? You tell me.
2 in the front, 2 in the back, sailing along, and we don't look back.
Yeah, let's call it a verse. You might say, hang on, that's lyrically a lot different to the verses, that's a bridge, but I'm just going to call it verse 3, okay? Oops. Now, did you notice as I dragged it down, I went a bit left? I might just turn the magnet back on to help me with my dragging. Cool. Let's just have a listen to this dropout bit.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean.
4, 2, 3.
There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need
7,
me,
2,
you know
3,
where I'll be.
8, 2, 3,
I'll be riding
4.
short.
Okay, so once again, the chorus kicks in on the syllable shot, and the I'll be riding is actually the lead in, but I'm going to try and split it on the strong beat, on beat 1, which was just before here. Tab to that transient. No, didn't work that time, so we'll have to go manual mode. I'm going to turn off the magnet and listen closely. I'm going to page up. That will zoom in a bit.
I'll be riding shotgun.
See that there? That is pretty much the transient. When the kick drum, when the kick drum and the bass join the vocalist on beat 1, that is the spot. We'll put our magnet back on. We said that was like a dropout, so let's give it a. I'll just chuck it in the intro category just for fun. Intros and dropouts, intros and breaks or whatever, you know. Just for now.
Shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone.
4, 2.
I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a
7,
someone.
8.
I'll be riding shotgun.
Now the beat drops again there, doesn't it? So I'll just tab to this transient. Great, that was perfect. This is a chorus dropout, so I'm going to double click it. Call this one chorus dropout. When we're arranging our little jigsaw puzzle a bit later, we might want to know which one is the dropout chorus.
Shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone.
8, 2, 3, 4. Cool, leading into the trumpet feature. Was it just me, or was that chorus a bit busier than the previous ones? There was a bit more horn action going on, possibly. You might know the arrangement better than me and disagree, but I feel like this chorus was a bit more action-packed, so I might sort of call it chorus 4, whatever it happens to be. The tab to transient's not working on this one. It went past it, so that there is where the beat 1 occurs. This was a chorus, so I will call it chorus. Oops. I think it's about chorus 4, isn't it? And I'll make sure my magnet's on and drag it down to the chorus zone. Then here's a trumpet solo. 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. And that note there, the reason I'm going to split this is for the purposes of beat matching. Let's just, that one there. Alrighty, and that's pretty much it. So that's definitely going in my outro folder there. This one here, intros and breaks. I think a trumpet solo can go into there. Trumpet solo. Just call this one outro. And if you zoom out with the down arrow and zoom the vertical zoom with page up and page down, you'll see now that I can delete track 1 because we've moved everything off of track 1. So now we've got our different segments labeled, except for this one. What was that? That was what we called a break or something.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of.
Okay, so we've reached this point, guys, and at the moment we haven't actually talked about matching the tempo. If you wanted to actually think of this as preparations for a mashup or a medley of tunes, you might actually be wanting to grab a piece of one tune and then mash it together with a piece of another tune. And in those circumstances, you want to actually beat match, have everything the same tempo. So what we're going to do is try and snap everything to match the project grid here. So I'm going to hit play and count how many bars this is. 1, 2. Well, it's hard to tell. There's So from where that that little synth comes in, I'd say it's 4 bars. Let's leave that one for later. Let's actually snap verse 1 over onto the first beat of bar 7, which is 7.1, and listen closely.
Homegrown alligator, see you later. Gotta hit the road.
All right, let's not waste time because we counted that was 8 bars before. So 1, 2. That's 2 bars there. 7 to 9 is 2 bars, isn't it? We actually said 16 bars. So those of you who aren't tired from a long day, what is 7 plus 16? That's right, 23. And that should be where it's snapping in. If you listen with the metronome now.
Homegrown alligator, see you later. Gotta hit the road. Gotta hit the road. The sun ain't changing the atmosphere. Architecture unfamiliar. I could get used to this.
And look at that, exactly on the first beat of 15 as it should be. That strong beat you can see there. So that is beautifully tempo matched. It's playing at a rate of 1.053 of its original rate, which probably means the original tempo is actually around 124 or so. But later on we can adjust that once we've snapped everything. So this chorus should be kicking in right at bar 23, and it should be lasting for 8 bars. So 23 plus 8 is 31. Hold Alt, snap that onto beat 1 there. Bring our verse 2 back. That's 16 bars. Now 31 plus 16, that's right, 47. Let's bring our chorus back. Also take note, 1.036 of the original rate. And this implies that perhaps Shotgun wasn't made with a click track because there's slight variations in the rate. Either that or perhaps some human error on my part is involved. But it seems as though perhaps they just recorded in the studio without a click track, which is, not the usual thing for pop these days.
I'll be riding shotgun underneath the...
All right, so from here, 47 plus 8, 55. So let's hold Alt and snap it to 55. Verse 3, come back there. And 55 plus 8, 63. 63 plus 8 is 71. All the way back here. 71 plus 8 is 79. Chorus 4 is 8 bars as well, 87. And then the trumpet solo kicks in here. Then we've got this outro, which the end point of the outro was hard to determine because it sort of goes to waves. But what we could do is just say, all right, well, let's just make the rate of it 1.029. So double click on it, and the playback rate is just over here. All right, I was bluffing, I can't see it. And the playback rate is just here. So I'm going to type in 1.029, enter. And that now you see the fading trumpet was still staying with the metronome. Now I'll turn the metronome off, but essentially now we can bring this here, and let's just say, all right, well if that was 1.053 here, why don't we double click that and go 1.053, apply that, and then just line up the right edge of it. So it's not wanting to play ball there. And just have our magnet, and I want to actually line up the right edge of it. There's probably a little toggle I can use to do that, but I'm just going to go freehand. And it tells me the endpoint, 77.1.01. Why don't I just go in and adjust? The endpoint is not a factor you can change, but I know I'm out by one click. So hit 2 and have a look here. And if I highlight that, it ends right on 7.1.00. All right, so now have a listen.
Homegrown alligator, see you later.
Okay, that was unusual. What's gone here?
Homegrown alligator. Homegrown.
Okay, at some point, guys, my edge, I've accidentally stretched my edge there. So I'm going to come in and split this, delete that, and bring that edge over so it finishes on 7.1, which is right there. Okay, so let's see if this sounds a bit smoother. And I may as well get rid of the excess silence there in front of that. And tell you what, because we're going to move our jigsaw around, I'm going to get rid of the extra waves, or at least call them waves, because with my jigsaw puzzle, I'm actually going to habitually there I just press Control S because I'm used to saving quite regularly. So let's look here and call this one Shotgun Tutorial, and make sure I'm copying all the media into that project. I've already made my folder there. If not, I would have just saved it back here as Shotgun Tutorial and clicked on Create a subfolder. So I didn't really need to do that step. I'll just go in here. Don't want another subfolder, so leave that blank, copy everything into here, and hit save. And now you'll find that it copied the file, Shotgun, from this folder on my school drive over into the Documents, Year 8 Music Media, Shotgun Tutorial folder. That way, if I were to go home and try and edit this tutorial, it wouldn't then tell me, hang on mate, I can't access that school drive on which that's saved. Or it basically just say like, this file's missing. So as it says in the background, offline. So don't forget to make sure you copy the media to that folder. Anyway, back to business. Our next task, having done that, is, in fact, I might even do a screenshot at that point. So hit my Windows print screen, make a screenshot to show the teacher, that's me, how well I'd cut up the sections. And then I'd say, all right, now I'm gonna move my jigsaw around a bit. I'm gonna go, all right, let's have a chorus straight out of the intro. And then we'll go, get that out of the way. Let's go verse 3 there, and then straight into the trumpet solo, and followed by a chorus, verse 2, another chorus. Oops, I've done something wrong. Oh, hello. That's actually split in two, guys, sorry. Grab that one, followed by the breaky bit, drop a chorus in there. So really, I'm just jumbling it, not creatively, but just as an experiment for you guys. So have a listen to this.
shotgun underneath.
All right, so the shotgun's in the right position, yeah, but we don't have the words before it. So all I'm going to do now is actually stretch. I'm not holding Alt this time. I'm not stretching the tempo. I'm going to stretch the edge of this container here that actually can still remember what occurred to the left of it. So I'll just put a little fade and have a listen.
I'll be riding shotgun underneath.
Okay, so I left this step till last because I wanted to make sure that this lines up with, you know, the start of an 8-bar section. Was there, you know, here we've got the verse. I've adjusted the volume of that. It sounded a lot less. Okay, so the verse here, we just missed a bit of the S, didn't we? So I'll adjust the edge of this if I can zoom in there. Grab that one. Oh, the reason why I can't adjust it that little amount, the snap magnet is on. So disable snap. Now this will let me bring that sort of over maybe here.
2 in the front, 2 in the back, sailing along, and we don't. 2 in the front.
All right, so that feels kind of natural. What have we got here? What are we missing here? Perhaps we could just see what that is. Solo that. Oh yeah, so there is a trumpet note there. It might be worthwhile just having an equivalent fade out to the fade in there. See what that sounds like. Yeah, that sounds decent. And then let's hear it goes down here. Now, basically, I've decided, oh, hey look, I think I'll keep the outro trumpet next to its trumpet solo. I should have actually put snap on. Let's just do it this way. Let's cut the outro trumpet, Control X, and let's turn on the magnet. Click just after that, trumpet solo, make sure that is selected and hit Control V. Underneath the hearts, I'm feeling like someone. All right, and I'm happy to keep that going in the background. It's not very audible. Maybe what I'll do is I'll double click this one and put the volume down on that clip a little bit. And then I actually want to get the lead-in lyrics to the I'll be writing. So let's have a look. Turn off snap because I have a feeling the I'll is just there. No, I was wrong. Go back a bit further. What's this sound like way back here? I'll be riding. And that reverse cymbal there is a good spot for a nice long fade. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hearts. I'm feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hearts. I'm feeling like someone. We got south of the equator navigated. All right, so other lyric, is that the actual spot for those lyrics? I'm not sure if it is. I don't think it is. So what is all the way back here? Could we use that instead of this is my question. You know, maybe a little bit more of a less abrupt crossfade could be a good vibe. So bring that back there, make that a longer crossfade. To me that sounds a bit better, less abrupt, because the levels, particularly with my lowered gain on this chorus, it didn't really sound that natural when I had that swapping over directly. So the crossfade, I don't like seeing these red meters there. Strangely, yeah, if we just sort of go down, highlight all three of these tracks, bring it down about 1 dB, that should be fine. It'll stop the peak meter going. South of the equator. I lied. Okay. seems like each track's just peeking out a little bit.
South of the equator, navigator, gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. Deep sea.
Okay, I'm happy with that. What's the next transition? It's going into a chorus, so we're probably going to want the lyrics leading into it.
Be riding shotgun.
Oh, look, it's already there, so that's fine.
Know where I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding. Time flies by in the yellow and green.
Okay, now this time we don't want the I'll be riding, because that would have been a double chorus, wouldn't it? We want to get rid of that and hope that whatever is left of that next section is going to make sense from about here as a little crossfade to that point where the I'll be riding, because we want to get rid of the I'll be riding and hopefully this bit will replace it. That's good enough, isn't it? You might say, oh, what if we move it back a little bit further? Just experiment a little bit. Yeah, that felt a bit better to me actually with that slightly longer one, even back to there. There's a little bit of lumpiness with the tambourines not quite meshing there, in which case maybe even actually shortening, if I actually split that around here, or shorten that, sorry, that would be the way to go. Shorten that one down. Yeah, what's really the issue is somewhere along the line my beat matching etc. has led to this one not being lined up perfectly on beat 4 there, isn't it? So did I actually at some point move this over? Was it not perfect to start with? That's a good question. But I'm actually just going to go about fixing it right now by dragging that one over to line up those beats where I see they have to be. And hopefully you know what I mean by that, like beat 2 and beat 4. Those snare hits should be lining up right on beat 2 and beat 4, or sort of just be like slightly to the right of them. Because when we do the snap to transient, that's where it's snapping to. Okay, so I will just move that back a bit and see what that sounds like. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. That looks better lined up to me. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. I'll just stretch the right of this a little bit. In fact, what I'll do is stretch it with the magnet and with Alt key, because I feel like that's a bit better. Let's have a look. I'll be riding shotgun. Stretching with Alt actually just sort of slowed it down a little so that it occupied that whole space and then blended better into the shotgun here. Obviously we once again... I'll be riding shotgun. Yeah, I feel like some of my trust in the tab to transient may have been misguided, like the beat seems to jerk a little bit here to my ears. I'll be riding shotgun. And actually like that tambourine's a bit wonky, like it should be on beat 2. So I think, yeah, there's a bit of compromise needed with my judgment about where the beats fall, but hopefully you can just see I'm being a bit picky with that. This is generally pretty well in time. I'm dreaming of, if you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. Homegrown alligator sea. Okay, so as much as I love the trumpet, having that first note of the solo and then the solo doesn't happen is very disappointing. So we don't want that to happen. Homegrown. Well, I certainly don't. But you may decide that's your artistic choice. So I would actually change the edge of that to be there. And hopefully we've got some useful content we can fade in at that point.
alligator.
Happy with that.
See you later. Gotta hit the road. Gotta hit the.
Cool. And then the ending at the moment.
I'll be riding.
And you could actually say, hey, let's just have a fade out. We'll make our own fade out over those last 4 bars or so.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding.
Cool. And you might even decide you don't want the hint of the chorus, so you just change that there.
Dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be.
You know, to me that's more satisfying than hearing the chorus start and then it actually doesn't happen. So that is a completed jigsaw puzzle of reordered Shotgun. I have made sure each of the choruses has its little pickup, or have I? Was this one an instrumental one?
I'll be riding shotgun.
Oh no, that
underneath
works. Because the pickup was on this one here already. So now hopefully you understand a little bit about the way some pieces have a little bit of a pickup before their strong beat of a section. And hopefully by identifying that, you'll be better at cutting in the right spot, doing your editing when you do the jigsaw puzzle. Because if we didn't, maybe I'll just quickly show you, save. I'll show an example of if I didn't understand the concept of this and I started with, let's go, it's been a long day. All right, what have we got? If I started with the first chorus, say, and I'll go back to where it was split before, which was there, that is obviously 7.1. But if I didn't understand that concept, I would have actually had that on beat 1, and then you'd have this result.
I'll be riding shotgun underneath the.
Now, you might say it's not a problem having that there, sure, but as soon as I want to like beat match and bring in other tracks and things, the beat 1s will not line up and you'd be having a whole lot of trouble. So I think I'll think of another way to show you a bad example another time. I hadn't really thought that one through, how to best show a bad example of identifying the form. Maybe you can come up with one and show me. Anyway, once you've done it, you want to do another screenshot and submit that with a rendered MP3. Change the WAV to MP3, put your title, Mr. Weber Shotgun, reordered or jigsaw, and then ensure the folder's where you want it and click render one file. It'll take a little while to render that as an MP3 and then you're done. So yeah, I hope that all made sense. Hit me up with an email or some comments if you don't quite understand something or think I didn't explain something clearly. But anyway, good luck with that, and hopefully that gives you a hand with the task that we have in our Year 8 class of cutting up and reordering your choice of song. Thanks guys.